Shalom, everybody. How's everybody doing on this Tuesday? It's kind of shaky in Rochester. It was kind of cloudy. Looked like it rained a few times, but luckily the weather broke and we had a pretty nice day. Was out to enjoy most of it, seeing the sun out and seeing a lot of people out. One thing I want to say about what's been going on is, spite of all the chaos and the differences of what's going on and the different views and the emotions and all that stuff that's going on, spite of all the protests and the situation at hand, even through all this, people haven't really been able to uphold another situation that we're dealing with, which is COVID-19. The stipulations of social distancing and wearing a mask and constantly washing hands, and with all the protests and the situations that we're dealing with, people kind of laid that to the side. But the positive side of what's going on is the fact that nobody's dying from COVID-19. No cases have spiked, and the curve, as you will say, that most governors have displayed to their states, said has not risen back up. So that's a positive thing that's going on. One thing I would like, and I hope it reaches the leaders of these movement groups like Black Lives Matter, Hands Up, Don't Shoot, and so on and so on. Why you have momentum. I think I put this post up earlier. Why you have momentum, use that. You have people in Washington in large numbers. And the thing that I've been trying to say about and say to these groups is the thing that you have to do is you have to have an agenda. And there has to be a sole purpose other than protesting. There has to be an objective that we have to execute other than protesting. Protesting can't be the hype of what it is and the motivation of why we do this. We know we have signs and why we're out there and what caused it, but that can't be the initial reason. Yes, we want to see justice for this man's family, because in spite of the situation that happened to him, he has moved on. The reality of the situation, he's not coming back. Spite of the outcome of throughout all this, he's not coming back. So justice is for his family is what everybody should be really paying attention to. The legacy of his name and memory is what they're holding on to and would allow everybody to uphold, even through protest. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing that we have to be mindful. Now, as far as an agenda, there should be an agenda, and protest should not be the agenda. If you were to ask me as far as a plan, my personal opinion would be to take the people that you have that's willing to be out in March, that just really have that passion and incentive to see something happen and not move until they see it happen. Send them to Washington. there's already a large number that's willing to protest and has and is right now as I speak. You should be pushing that. You should be sending all these people that are in these other states and major cities, send them to DC and protest peacefully in larger numbers. Then, while all this is going up, you leaders should be coming together with the plan and agenda to have set on the table, because once these protests reach the people that you, and that's another thing, you have to be ideal on what the goal is and who we're reaching. We can't initially say that all these protests are for the police chief, the district attorney, the attorney general of the state of Minnesota, and the governor. You know what I mean? We can't say that these protests and demonstrations are solely for that. It has to be bigger than that, because honestly, and even referring to the civil rights movement, they didn't go to state governments. They dealt with state governments to make them talk to them, but they didn't really deal with state governments. They dealt on a federal level because the civil rights movement was a political movement. So what it is the answers and the objectives that need to be done have to come from the top down. So what am I saying about this? That means you got to induce what you have in momentum in Washington. Spark conversation to sit down with the people who are against Trump. If Biden, because think about it, with all these numbers, and that's another thing, when they protested in the civil rights movement, they had everybody documented. They had all their information. Reason being, because they were so organized, and when it came down to a political realm, these were potential voters. So let's think about it in this sense. If I have 10,000 people in protest, right, and I have all their names documented, that these are the people who listen to me, I'm talking to the people who have the political say-so, right? And then I'm going to sit down with them and tell them this is what needs to be done. If you know where I'm going with this. So what happens is, mind you, this protest and this movement has been nationally. From what I've seen, there's more than 30 big, large cities that participate in this movement. So in my opinion, what y'all should do is y'all should have an agenda. There's an election coming, a presidential election. The opposing opponent to Trump, if you want Trump out of the office, is Biden. You sit down with Biden and tell him, listen, we have overwhelming numbers of voters, right? And if you want to beat Trump, you got to listen to our agenda. You got to help execute our agenda. Now you're making progress. And I wasn't trying to be on here super long expressing details and stuff like that. And and, being a bigger mind and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to share that and hope it get into the right hands. You know what I mean? Because that's what I stand for is the things that are right. You know what I mean? And it's only right. So peace to everybody. Love y'all always. And better days are coming. All right. Shalom.